Hey everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review, and this is for the first sequel in one of the most iconic horror movie franchises of all time. Yeah. So of course, this was one of the more 80s franchises. This was released a year after the first film, only a year right after the first one, and that's of course for what is easily my third favorite film in this franchise, and that of course goes to Friday the 13th, Part 2. Yeah. Another one of the more underrated slasher sequels, because this was pretty much the film where Jason made his iconic debut. After the first one, it was Mrs. Voorhees. This movie, her son Jason finally makes his debut on the big screen. So, in a way, yeah. So, how was this made? Well, following the success of the first one in 1980, Paramount Pictures began plans for a sequel. First acquiring the distribution rights, Fake Mancuso wanted this to be an event where teenagers would flock to the theaters on a Friday night to see the latest episode. The initial ideas for a sequel would involve the Friday the 13th title being used for a series of films released once a year that would not have direct continuity with one another, but be a separate scary movie in their own right. Phil Scuderi, one of the three owners of Esquire Theaters, along with Steve Minasin and Bob Barzamian, who produced the original film, insisted that the sequel have Jason Voorhees, Pamila's son, even though his appearance in the original film was only meant to be a joke. Steve Minner, associate producer of the first film, believing the idea would go on to direct the first two sequels, after Cunningham opted to return to the director's chair. Minner reused many of the same crew members from the first film while working on the sequels. Cunningham had mixed feelings about the entire Friday the 13th enterprise that he outlined for film critic and author Stephen Hunter in an interview for a book Hunter wrote on violent films. After saying that Cunningham wasn't really proud to work on these films, Cunningham bluntly said the only thing that seemed to reach a teenage audience at the time involved high levels of gore and graphic violence. So yeah. But what is this sequel about? Well, 2 months after Alice, the sole survivor of the first one, beheaded Pamela Voorhees at Camp Crystal Lake, she is now still traumatized because of the murders. But there was one problem. Jason never drowned or died. So he actually saw Alice behead Miss Voorhees, and he soon finds Alice and kills her. But now we flash forward to 5 years later, where a camp counselor in training program begins at Packanack Lodge, right near Camp Crystal Lake, which was now shut down following the events of the first one. As teenagers in the program start snooping around Crystal Lake, they start getting killed violently one by one. Yeah, that's the plot of the sequel. So yeah, what do I think of this film? Well, I think this movie's way better than the first one. The first one was fine, but it had loads of flaws, so I like this movie a lot better. I think it's my third favorite film in the series. So yeah, here's actually why I actually think that. Okay, sorry about that, guys. But anyway, back to the review. Why is this my favorite? No, not my favorite. Third favorite one of the series. Well, it was the first one in the franchise where Jason is shown as the main antagonist, but he does not. However, in this one, this is the only one where he does not have his iconic hockey mask, which honestly looks better on him. This one, he kind of has this bag that only has like one eyelid on it, and yeah, I don't really like Jason's look in this film. To be fair, it's not really my favorite. Thankfully, his look would get better better in the sequels with the hockey mask. Well, aside from one of them, but in the makeshift home that Jason lives in looks very impressive, and I especially really like all the brutal deaths, especially Mark's. The soundtrack is also pretty decent. Some characters like Ginny, Mark, and Vicky are very likable and very interesting. And let's not forget the rotting head of Jason's mother, Pamela Voorhees, is also impressive. Impressive too. So yeah, that's what I do like about that film. Do like about this film. I do like the kills. Some of the characters are pretty interesting. And I also like how this isn't just set right after the first one. It takes place 5 years later. Yeah, but there are some bad qualities of why this is not the #1 best film in the series. Well, for starters, while the kills are brutal, yes, they are sometimes delivered in a way that ends up looking more slapsticky, such as Jason literally getting kicked in the balls. Well, then again, guys, pretty much every single sequel to Friday the 13th gets more and more comedic. Especially after the more serious and depressing first one. This one kind of goes more goofier. Like, every movie just gets, a lot of the films get more cartoony, campier, and goofier, really, but then again, they're slashers. What really do you expect? They're not really masterpiece films. There are kind of a lot of cliches in this film, some of which are repeated from the first one, but hey, honestly, the cliches in this movie are actually kind of handled a lot better than they were in the first one, so at least that's a bonus. I'll give props to that. And plus, Friday the 13th always has cliches. And if Jason was able to get the head of his mother as well as the sweater she had in the previous film, where's the rest of her body as well? Like, some of the special effects didn't really age well. And like I said, Jason's design in this movie is pretty silly, because the potato sack makes him look like this rejected Klansman. And of course, I didn't mind this in this movie, but then other horror films started to do this cliche, and it got really annoying quick. You know Alice Hardy, the main character of the first one, and the one that survived it all? Well, guess what? She's killed by Jason right before the opening credits even occur, and with no recurring characters left at all, which is an main issue with many of the films. Most of them tend to not contain any recurring characters that you can even root for, though it's understandable if she's one of the captain of Jason's mother in the previous film. Crazy Joe from the first one also returns, but Jason garrotes him with some barbed wire shortly afterwards, so yeah. I mean, Crazy Ralph, not Crazy Joe. So in a way, yeah. That pretty much kicked off the most annoying cliche in horror films. Where the protagonists die, where the great protagonist of the first one dies in the sequel, to make room for some not as interesting characters. Yeah, like horror films such as Nightmare on Elm Street 4 did this. Nightmare on Elm Street 3 does not count because Nancy didn't really die till the end of the movie. So I'll give that one a pass. That was Nightmare on Elm Street 4. The heroes of the third one died at the beginning of the fourth one. Alien 3 is a major example of this trope, where Newt and Hicks died at the very start of Alien 3, without any mention, without any shot of them, or anything. Yeah, which pretty much ruined Alien 3 quick. Halloween Resurrection killed off Laurie Strode straight away. After the beginning great ending of Halloween H20, it turned out Michael outsmarted her, and then found her in the asylum, and she killed her. No, not she. He killed her. Well, then again, at least in that one scene, that's the actual Michael Myers, unlike the rest of Resurrection, where Michael's a damn idiot. And of course, Hostel Part 2 also did this cliche with Paxton and the Eli Hunting Club, but at least it was trying to portray that the Eli Hunting Club are inescapable, and you can't escape them no matter what you do. So, however, Friday the 13th 2, I didn't mind it at first. It was when other films started doing it, the cliche got annoying quick. So yeah. That's pretty much that. This movie does introduce Jason Voorhees, but they don't do it really too well for his debut chapter. Well, this is technically the first chapter of his story, in a way. Thankfully, the rest of the films kind of did him a little better. However, the next one that comes after this is not really better than this one, though. Not really, but it's not. But the next one isn't really terrible. But anyway, yeah. And you don't really know what happens to one of the survivors at the end of the film. I mean, that was also kind of a nitpick. We never really saw him again. It was hinted that guy, I forget his name is, but it's hinted that guy died, but we could at least had some mention of it. Not just hinted, like kind of like had some reference to him at least. But all in all, despite those, I think this is my third favorite film in the series. And you want to know why it's third? Because there's two better ones. One of them that is better is 2 reviews away. Yeah. But yeah, this one is one of those horror sequels that Part 2's that is better than Part 1. If you like the first one, I definitely give this a watch if you finally want to see Jason make his debut. And here's how I am going to rank it.
I am going to give Friday the 13th 2 an 8.5 out of 10.
And there we go. We've covered the first 2 Friday the 13th movies, and only... Alright, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 more to go, but however, there's going to be a system with that. I'm also going to be reviewing Nightmare on Elm Street sequels too, so actually, the next horror movie review is going to be for Nightmare on Elm Street 2, then Friday the 13th 3, then Elm Street 3, then Friday the 13th 4, then Elm Street 4, and then Friday the 13th 5, then Elm Street 5, then Friday the 13th 6. Yeah. Then Freddy's Dead. Ugh. Then Friday the 13th 7. Then New Nightmare. Then Jason Takes Manhattan. Boo! And so forth. But, however, tomorrow I'm going to be reviewing Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. So, Elm Street 2's review will likely have to come Saturday. But, until then, that will be it for this review. Thank you all for watching, and if you like this and want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Movie Lover 120.